Yeah, I don't think, the great thing about athletics and sport is it gives you a chance to go work on things and go out there and see if you can get better at it. We got punched in the nose the other night in Baton Rouge, and we didn't punch back. We were looking for somebody to give us a Kleenex or a handkerchief so we could wipe the blood off of our mouth after we got punched. But our kids really battled. We had what day was that? Tuesday. When we played LSU. So we had 2 or 3 great days of practice, and obviously rebounding was a point of emphasis. But it's hard to assimilate LSU's size because they have 4 guys all 6'10" to 7 foot, and I don't think we were ready for that. But I didn't see a lot of fight either. And that's been a hallmark of this program. That's how we beat Cincinnati and LSU and SMU and Temple and everybody in the league last year because we were fighters. But we have to get back to that. Sometimes you need to be reminded who you are. You run around here thinking you're a little better than you actually are. This game is very humbling. It'll tell you who you are. So I thought we played with a great identity tonight, led by Damian Dotson and Rob Gray. Those 2 guys were outstanding. Dot got back on the boards, and that's the hardest he's played all year. I think that's the hardest Rob has played at both ends all year. And they'll lead other guys with him. So I was just pleased with the effort tonight. We've got a bunch of games left. I don't get carried away with games in November, winning or losing one way or the other. But the practices after LSU actually is more important than the game itself.
Question, please. Kelvin, you mentioned from Tuesday to now, and you go through the practices. Immediately, how they came out, did you feel like, that's the way they needed to respond, just jumping out to?
Yeah, but it was more than that. It was practice. It was practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and then yesterday, the way they practiced. And I was on them. I fussed at them hard, but they deserved it. We're not good enough to show up. None of us. We have to be a program that kicks and claws and scraps and fights for everything that we get. We're not one of the blue bloods. But sometimes our kids need to be reminded who they are. But there's plenty of. It's still young, early in the season. There's some teams that's already lost 3 or 4 games. It's going to be really good NCAA tournament teams in March. That's why you just don't worry about things in November. Just take your lumps and get better. Get back to practice. Focus on what you need to work on, and make sure your kids have the right attitude and the right effort. If you do those, and you're a good team, it usually works out. And I think we are a good team.
Coach, it seemed like the flow of the game got better as it went on.
Yeah.
A little sluggish in the first, not too much, but it seemed like it was just really flowing in the second half to come out.
Yeah, well, we had 19 assists, but we had some mindless, what are you doing, turnovers. And anytime you make a great play and get fouled and you miss both free throws, that it tends to chop the game up. But we have a lot of respect for Prairie View. Coach Byron Smith, he's done a great job there. They went on the road and beat Fresno State. That's a great win for them. I was proud of them for that. I know how tough that job is and can be. But for them to go on the road, beat Fresno State, and play these other teams, that's not easy. So we prepared hard for that. Coach Smith's a proud U of H graduate. He's a great player here, as was Coach Derek Daniels and that staff. So we have a lot of respect for those guys. But it was, and he probably knew this, he probably told his kids this, they were probably playing us at the wrong time. It's whoever we played after that debacle over in Baton Rouge, we were going to get after.
You had 44 points off the bench, and that was the exact margin that you won by. So you have to be pleased with the performance of the bench coming off.
Yeah, well, I told Wes when he was a walk-on, he's a much better free throw shooter. So. When walk-ons have to make their free throws. So I guess that doesn't speak well for her bod. I want to make free throws, I'll keep them as walk-ons. You guys don't, you guys get the humor in that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
God, give me a reaction or something. Just, I mean, you guys sitting there, I mean, you need some more peanuts or popcorn? Get them some water or some Coke. I mean, these guys are zombies, for God's sake. That's some good stuff I'm throwing out here. Come on, man. You need to know something. But what were you talking about? Had to be released? Of course I was. Yeah. Brooks, Brooks can shoot it, obviously. We didn't pull his name out of the hat. I mean, we recruited him because he's good at that. Dunnigan too. But those two guys are game like today was really, really good for them because it gave me a chance to give them extended minutes. I mean, how many minutes? Armani played 21 minutes. That's probably more minutes he's played all year. But that'll help him going as we move further into the schedule. But we've got guys off the bench that can score. And now that they're getting some playing times, that allows me to hold those guys accountable that's on the floor that are starting. They have to look over their shoulder a little bit.
Kelvin, this first game, you flipped Kyle and the Chicken. Was that just who you're playing?
Yeah, Chicken got punched in the nose the other night. I just didn't like the way he reacted to it. You reward things and then you penalize things. That's no different. I've always done that. Having Kyle out there, we won 22 games last year with Kyle as our starting five. And I thought his effort, his energy early on the offensive glass was important for us. Rob, there's so much about offense that comes easy to him. I have to stay on top of him to make sure he's making sure the game is easy, i.e. don't play in traffic and things like that. But Rob's a very gifted offensive guy.
Rob, what was different, in your opinion, for the team from Tuesday to today?
I should say how Coach got on to us and our response. So that's definitely the difference. We came out ready to punch them instead of receiving blows like Coach was suggesting earlier. But just our overall intent to just fight and scrap and claw. That was the difference.
Second half, Rob, more of a moving the ball around, so not necessarily you having to shoot as much as that kind of you weren't as involved, but you were in other ways.
Yeah, that's one thing Coach Sampson always tries to tell me. Just be the best all-around player I can be. And, I didn't have to go score 21 points in the second half. Just try to help our team to win the right way. So rebounds, assists, steals, whatever that is.
Anything else?
Kelvin, you're about halfway through your out-of-conference schedule, getting ready, heading into conference. Where would you kind of rate your team as how you want them to be, as when they started, where you want them to be when conference starts?
Well, I mean, we played a good non-conference schedule. I mean, some people got confused with UNC Pembroke and Angelo State. Those aren't scheduled games; those are exhibition games. And George Mason went on the road and won at Northern Iowa. Did you guys know that? In Northern Iowa, who did they just beat? That was beach beat somebody really good. George Mason, one of those. George Mason's really good, and so is Vermont. Vermont beat Yale, and Yale won at Washington. So we played a really good schedule. We played LSU, Yale. LSU, Vermont, George Mason. Those are three good teams, and now we're getting ready to go play Arkansas. And then we got Rhode Island coming up, who's the top 25 team in the nation, and they have been the entire year. Rhode Island beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati just won at Iowa State. So, I love everything about our non-conference schedule because it will have us ready for conference play. But the big thing about your team this time of year, you really have to focus on what's in front of you and not what's ahead of you. It's really important. So what's in front of us after the LSU game was practice the next day. That was really important practice. And then the next day's practice was really important. And then the next day, and then today, the way we responded. Now we'll practice tomorrow, get ready for Arkansas tomorrow, and then leave on Monday and go play them on Tuesday. But we got better. We got better in practice after the LSU game. So that's what was important.
So in the Arkansas game, everybody around here knows the history and the Southwest Conference, have them on the schedule, and is the return when you reopen this place, or there's not a game next year as
Yeah,
well? Is there?
no, we'll play them next year.
So it's like a two there and one here?
What?
No, next year.
No, we just play them twice, home and home. There's no third game. I think we're gonna renew the schedule, with LSU. We're gonna play LSU again. We're trying to get Arkansas to play us. I'd like to do a 4-year deal with them. We're gonna do a 4-year deal with LSU. I mean, that's not signed yet, but we've agreed and they've agreed. But,
So
you know,
we add 2 on to
Yeah.
what you've already played?
yeah, but we've had some other teams, I mean, like Georgia Tech, Michigan, all those teams want to play us, but they don't want to come here. Well, hold up now. I mean, we really work hard at non-conference scheduling. But you just don't call up a Power 5 school and they automatically come play it. The schools don't want to come play here now. Now, if we were a bad team, we could have a great non-conference schedule. Of course, in 2 years, you'd have a new coach too.
Anything else?
I like that.
I did too, I smiled.